Okay. Danielle Corley, here representing herself, testifying against the bill.
Hello, my name is Danielle Corley, and I'm a constituent of Representative Jody Laudenberg. And I am testifying against this bill. I'm lucky enough to have a mother who I can go to about my sexual health and about birth control, and she filled in the gaps that public education left in my sex education. I'm lucky to go to a university that provides me ample resources about healthy and protected sex. Many Texans, some of them my friends, are not so lucky, and it is for them that I fear the consequences of these restrictions, because abortion restrictions do not lead to fewer abortions, just fewer safe and legal ones. If Texas really wants to reduce the number of abortions that happens in this state, we need to improve the quality of our sex education, the availability of family planning resources and birth control, and stop assuming that if we pretend things aren't happening, then we're relieved of any responsibility. I've never been pregnant, but if I did at this point and had a baby, it would change my entire life. And I have plans. I plan to travel, to go to graduate school, to work in Washington, D.C. I'm against this bill because I want the freedom to pursue this path whether or not I become pregnant. If I did become pregnant, I don't even know if I would have an abortion, but I know that I would want the right to make that choice myself. Thank you.
Jane Norton, here representing herself, testifying for the bill.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Excuse me. My name is Jane Norton. I'm representing myself, and I'm in support of House Bill 60. I received a master's degree in social work from UT, and I'm now a licensed clinical social worker. I faced an unplanned pregnancy when I was 20. I grew up in an upper middle class neighborhood where that was inexcusable for a young woman. Young women 20 years old were attending college and preparing for a career, and certainly not getting pregnant out of wedlock. My parents and I agreed my pregnancy would impede my future goals and needed to be eliminated as quickly and quietly as possible to avoid the associated shame and disapproval of my extended family and the community. I was not informed or educated by anyone about what I was doing by having an abortion. I take accountability for being in denial of what I allowed to have done to my body out of my own selfish desire to avoid embarrassment and an interruption to my college career. None of the doctors, nurses, or clinic workers explained anything about the fetal development of the baby that was already alive and growing inside of me. All I knew is that it was not the right time in my life to have a baby, according to society's standards. No one warned me or explained to me that there could be physical or emotional trauma following my abortion. For 16 years, I was haunted by the immense shame and guilt of knowing that I had taken a life, that I had chosen to kill my unborn child. I was terrified of anyone finding out about my repulsive, painful, murderous secret. Passing these bills could prevent further trauma for women choosing to have an abortion who need medical care during their procedure. These bills will help ensure a higher quality of health care that will provide a measure of comfort to a woman who is already having an extremely difficult experience. Many see abortion as a woman's health issue, and many people don't realize that 1 out of every 3 women in this country are faced with an abortion experience. So we must not be ignorant, as I was, to the fact that abortion does not only affect a woman's physical health, but her emotional health as well. As the Center Director of Austin Life Care Pregnancy Services Center, I have heard at least 20 accounts beyond my own of how women's decisions to abort have caused significant trauma. It causes poor self-worth. Abortion causes us to believe that we don't deserve to be treated well, or to have our own family, or a man who loves us. Poor self-worth can cause a vicious cycle, causing a woman to treat the people in her life poorly as well. In conclusion, in both my professional and personal experience, I've witnessed abortion create brokenness and pain for all people involved. If a woman chooses to abort, the least we can do as a state is provide a higher standard of health care to lessen the trauma as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Questions? Jeffrey Patterson, Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops. This is the second time. Okay. For the bill, not testifying. Melanie DeMartinez, here representing herself against the bill. We show Ms. DeMartinez against the bill, not testifying. Jane Denson, representing herself against the bill. Show Jane Denson against the bill, not testifying. Sarah Dickerson, representing herself against the bill. We'll show Sarah Dickerson against the bill, not testifying. Kate Donahoe, representing herself against the bill. Show Kate Donahoe representing herself against the bill, not testifying. Angie Hoover Darton, representing herself against the bill. Show her not testifying. Thomas Douglas, representing himself against the bill.
Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Thomas Douglas, and I'm again here to speak against House Bill 60. This bill amounts to a de facto ban of abortion in violation of the law as established by the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade. By placing unnecessary or medically unnecessary regulations, this bill greatly limits access to safe and legal abortions. This reduction of access to abortion by such an extreme amount, in some cases forcing women to travel hundreds of miles to one of the few remaining clinics this bill would allow, that it restricts the ability to receive an abortion to such a state that amounts to a de facto ban on abortion, except for the few privileged that would have the time and resources to go out of their way for this. Regardless of personal opinion or the alleged merit of this bill, the Texas legislature does not hold the authority to defy the Supreme Court and violate a person's right and freedom from government intrusion over one's own body. To pass this legislation would be to do such a thing, an event I hope I do not witness. And with my remaining time, I'd like to discuss the issue of fetal pain, and would like to simply ask a few questions to the committee that I hope they keep in mind. Is it possible for any life to go through without, is there a life that exists without pain, either emotional or physical? Does carrying a fetus to full term guarantee it will not feel pain, or once born go through life living a painless life? Should we be restricting medical procedures solely on pain? And if so, should it be illegal for me to receive a flu shot because I feel pain? Or should we be looking at the larger picture and why the procedure is done in the first place? Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. Cindy Nolan, Faith Action for Women in Need and Catholics for Choice and Self, here to testify against the bill.
Hello, Chairman, board members. My name is Cindy Nolan, and I am testifying against these bills on behalf of myself, Faith Action for Women in Need, and Catholics for Choice. My representative is Elliot Nashton. I wanted to look all nice for y'all tonight, maybe wear a little bit of makeup, but I got sick. See, we've been working around the clock to try and save the lives of women in Texas, but it seems like Texas was working against that. It's been a little bit difficult. So, Faith Action for Women in Need is a statewide organization that has almost 500 members who are religious. Catholics for Choice is an international organization whose members are all Roman Catholic. I'm a devout Roman Catholic myself. I'm also a student at the Episcopal Seminary of the Southwest. I'm here to speak against this legislation because it will greatly reduce access to safe legal abortion, which would cause a return to illegal abortion in the state of Texas. Where there's illegal abortion, there's dead women and late-term abortions. God has mercy and compassion for every woman who seeks a safe legal abortion. He knows what they have been through, and His mercy and forgiveness is great. Ours should be too. For the people who are worried about these little souls leaving this world, don't they believe they'd be better off in heaven? Because I sure do. I think God would take very good care of them. I also want to address the woman who said that everything was perfect back in 1941. Illegal abortions have been plentiful in America since the turn of the 20th century. Okay? And if you ever watch the history of abortion in America, you'll hear doctors tell you that at least 40 women a day in major metropolitan areas presented dying from gangrene and sepsis and bleeding out. We're talking about a bloodbath that's going to happen in Texas if this passes. It's not going to be pretty.
If we could wrap up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, and God bless you all. You have a lot of endurance.
Thank you very much. Just the next one?
Yeah.
Do what?
Yeah.
Okay. Sarah Dickerson, here representing herself, speaks against the bill.
Thank you, Chair and Committee, for your attention today. My name is Sarah Dickerson. I'm speaking in opposition to this bill. I am blessed to never have been pregnant, and I honor every woman who has endured pregnancy and had to make decisions regarding that pregnancy. I fear the intentions behind this bill. Who is it protecting? Who is it serving? It smacks to me of patriarchal state domination. Patriarchy being defined as systemic male domination that can be perpetuated by both men and women. I fear that this bill hates women, that it comes from a fear of losing power, that the primary concern is to control and dominate women's bodies. There is plenty of discourse surrounding the life of a fetus and the pain of a fetus with conflicting opinions. The focus on this ambiguous fetus is precarious. You know who we are sure about? The women to whom the fetus is physically attached and completely reliant upon. The personal has become blatantly political. What is in the womb of a human body is now discussed in this microphone, in this large room, to a completely disconnected and unfamiliar audience. Another woman's choice regarding her body is not the business of the state any more than it is mine. The state of Texas does not have jurisdiction over women's vaginas. Thank you.